Okay, just a second. Yep, we should be there soon. Perfect. Okay, I think we are live now. That's awesome. Hey, everyone. Neil Napier here, along with Jenna Apgar again.
Hi there.
Cool. All right. So here's the story so far. We have done one session for my first 1,000 group, that is you all, and we've received tremendous feedback. We got, I think last I checked, over 350 comments during that live video session. So as you can tell, with the size of the group that we have, the reaction, the engagement was through the roof, and we love it because I was talking to Jenna after that, and I said that the group was so excited that I can't wait to do the second session. And the second session is today. So today we're going to move one step forward from what we discussed yesterday. Yesterday we talked about my first niche, which is how to find and select conclusively the market, the niche that you want to go after. If you haven't downloaded the worksheets that we gave along with that live video, make sure you download them soon, because Jenna, I think we agreed that we're going to remove it within 24 hours, but can we leave it up for another 24, because I know people are still coming in?
Sure. I think I just sent an email out to my group that said about 5 hours or the end of business day. But yeah, I noticed we picked up about 200 new people in the group.
Yeah, it's growing even crazily now. So by the way, if you are watching this live, I think there is a button somewhere. Patrick had it. He shared the live video with other people. Now, if you can and if you want to, by all means, go for it. If you're getting value, get other people involved as well. Get other people into the group as well. Because like I said, this is not a business, it is a movement. And the movement can only flourish if you get involved. So here's what we're going to do now. I'm just going to do a quick check to make sure that we have a lot of people coming in, which we still do, which is awesome. And today we're going to focus on my first offer. And Jenna, is it okay if I can always, as always, push the heavy stuff on you and let you talk about what today's session is going to be about?
Sure. I'm just bringing up so I can try to get comments here. It's hard to do both screens live, and I don't want to test both internet.
It is, absolutely. I can tell you that or just, before we got started, I was a few seconds late because, as always, there's always some technical stuff going on, and we couldn't start this session on time because I forgot to click one button. But here we are, everything is good, and Jenna can tell you more about today's session.
Sure. So today kind of covers two of the big questions. One that most people I find don't even know is a question. What is that? There are the known unknowns and the unknown unknowns. So the first one is going to be the unknown unknown. It's a lot of people want to jump straight from, hey, this is what I do. Hi, I just met you, to buy my membership, buy my product. So what we try to do is create at least some awareness of that there's a system that is involved. Your first pitch, or you walk up to someone, it should not be buy my stuff. And the second one is pricing, which always comes up. And I think the biggest variable here is, a lot of times when I'm building stuff, I'm selling it and building it for US, UK, Canada, countries that tend to be on one price level. But I forget sometimes, even now, especially with this launch, there are a lot of people out there that are doing completely different price points. What is considered normal? Oh, you got your white jacket too? I see.
I do. Someone said Jenna looks like a doctor, and I said if Jenna does, and so should I.
I got my Spy versus Spy shirt on.
Cool.
But that pricing can be very different amongst across the globe, across industries, whether you're doing an introductory course or a signature course, whether you have a ton of content, whether you're adding videos and audio and text only, and if you have a custom worksheets, all those factor into pricing. And what we find is a lot of people do one of the extremes, way too low or way too high.
Absolutely. And pricing is something that I will be talking about a little bit more later, because I actually have a calculator that I'm going to give to you to show you how to price your product. And you can do it in many different ways. So I'll give you a full walkthrough of how to do that. But the very first point that Jenna talked about in it, brought an interesting analogy for me. So when people connect with you, and I'm sure you've had that too, when they connect with you on Facebook or LinkedIn, the very first message is a sales message. Hey, this is what I do, go buy this. And here's the thing, sales and marketing and sales is the same as dating. You can't just walk up to someone in a bar and say, hey, let's go. I mean, it doesn't usually work. So in that case, what you need to do is you need to build up connection with people. You need to build up the whole know, like, and trust engagement that we talk about. So that is a very, very important piece of making sure that when you're trying to sell something, you don't appear that salesy. Now, this is what stops a lot of people. They say, oh, I'm not a salesperson, so I can't sell this. The way we teach you to do it, this is marketing. It is not just sales. So you build up credibility over time.
Exactly. And we've been really testing the limits of LinkedIn here recently, and I still feel salesy offering free value. I mean, I think that's where most marketers are. Like, we don't even want to ask. We don't want to mention anything. On the other side, and working with different like mindset coaches, is it really comes down to, and I know we didn't cover this yesterday because it's a much bigger subject, but your vision. If you have a mission and it is bigger than, yeah, I'd like to make some money, but like you said, it's a movement. It's about creating the ability for families to have freedom, to have recurring revenue, to be able to stay at home with sick kids and take care of moms. When you see it as a bigger mission than even that, and you start saying, I want all of those people, not just me, but I want all of those people to have the same freedom that I've been able to achieve, then it's a lot easier to not feel bad about offering that free value. Then it's almost like you're bad if you don't share it. If you have incredible value in your head, if you have an incredible message that needs to be shared, I almost kind of feel like you're not being fair to everyone else by keeping it inside.
Exactly. And it all comes down to your why, because your why is the most important reason for you to wake up in the morning, for you to do what you do, for you to create stuff. So let me put it like this. For those people, and then there are many in this group who have joined and said, oh, I haven't built my course yet. Well, why have you not? And if you think back to what your why for doing all of this is, that will give you a justification to take that next step and build that course. So if your why is and I think, Jenna, I saw you doing that with someone. When someone said, this is what I want to do, you kept going into why. And that's like, really, Jenna is a mad doctor there, because she's asking all the right questions. The question really is, why is it that you want that? So again, this goes back to conversation that Jenna and I had. And I said to Jenna when we started working together, I said, Jenna, I want to grow Kyvio. And she goes, why? I said, because I want to impact lives of more people. I want to help them build businesses. She said, why? I said, because, in a way that would stroke my ego. She goes, why? And then these questions just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And eventually we realized that we, both Stephen and I, had a common goal. And that's where the idea of My First 1,000 came to be. And your business, your life should be the same, in that you should always remember what your why is. That could be family, that could just be money, that could be anything else you want to do for the world or for yourself. And every day when you wake up, you keep reminding that to yourself so you can continue working toward it.
And I would, if anybody, you mentioned your why could be money. If anybody's why is just money, I'm going to call a little bit of BS. Like, money accomplishes something. It's literally paper. It crinkles. You can throw it away. It's not a big deal. It's literally printed every single day. I think we have one of the printing houses here in Dallas. Money doesn't mean anything. Money is just the means to accomplish something else. Does it mean that you'll finally feel confident to propose to your girlfriend, because then you can buy the house and you can take care of the kids? Is it, your little kid gets to go to preschool and get that early childhood development? And if you'll notice, mine are mostly centered around family. I've seen it where it's centered around taking care of elderly parents. It's about being able, Steven's not on the call. It's so weird talking to just Neil here, but Steven travels. He's like a complete nomad. Like, one day he's in the Netherlands, and the next day where did he go? Croatia. I kind of miss y'all guys are in Europe. Y'all can just hop around to several countries. I feel landlocked here in the US.
We can. And today he's in Poland just, for the next 2 weeks, and then he's in Spain. So crazy times.
But he gets to do that. So it's not the money. He gets to do that because of the money. He gets to travel. He gets to be the nomad. One of these days, he's gonna have to figure out how to travel with his dog.
Absolutely. So just a quick housekeeping thing for, I think it was Virginia who said the video keeps pausing and buffering. Is it my slow computer or internet, or is there something else going on there? Just to check with everyone, can you hear and see everything fine? Give me a quick yes if you can in fact do that, so Virginia knows that everything is good. At the same time, if you're having problems, just refresh your browser and you should be back to getting it all worked out again.
Hi,
So,
Virginia.
hey.
Virginia's one
Okay.
of our members.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I see a lot of people came in just before we started doing this session. So yes, building your master strategic plan is very important, because if you don't have a plan, if you don't work towards it, you will not be able to work towards building a business that is recurring. Listen, I've done one-time sales before. They are easy in that if you just reduce the price enough, if you just give a big discount, it's easy to go to tell people and say, hey, this used to be 97, now it's only 47, buy it now. But when you do that with recurring, people are clever. They think, okay, if I have to pay 47 this month, I also have to pay it next month and the next month and the next month. So for me, and again, I think Jenna has really good take on that too, but for me, when I'm trying to sell a recurring subscription, I not only focus on my why, but I also focus on my customers' why. Why is it that they would continue to use this? Why is it that they would continue to pay me? What kind of value that I can give to them that would be their why, that they keep coming back and they say, okay, this is good. I'm going to log in every week. I'm going to continue using this. So to me, knowing my customers, knowing my audience, which I guess goes back to yesterday, we talked about the niche, knowing who you're selling to is important to understand their why as well.
It is, and that was one of the things that we built in the 30-day, the longer course, was going through a more detailed client avatar. Unfortunately, building that out in so much detail is a small course in itself. I do want to say, Mitch, you have a lot of jokes. Is it because we picked on you and called you niche all day yesterday? But there's so many things. I mentioned, Ryan Dice has his digital marketer membership yesterday. And that's not even a really complete story. I used that one because I do prefer conservative numbers. So when we were, Neil and I were calculating out roughly, Ryan never talks exact numbers. If we can get him to do that on Thursday, I would be shocked. But I can calculate how many people are in DM Lab, because that is his lowest membership at $38 a month. But I mentioned yesterday, somebody mentioned about, do we have to have a Facebook group? There are people, when we talk about that recurring revenue, who only stay in his $38 a month because of the Facebook group. What's his name? Oh, forget his name. Frank Kern. He has one, I believe it is like $347 or $397 a month. And the big takeaway from there is you get to hop on weekly calls with Frank Kern. So the ability to create something that is recurring on a regular basis that people can show up to either live. We actually have members in our office at a physical location here, doing webinars, doing calls, the Facebook Lives. What is the word? Not Skype. What the little hashtag? Oh, man. I'm never going to remember. Anyways, you have to have some kind of recurring, you have recurring revenue. You need to be adding recurring value.
Exactly. And the concept of recurring value is difficult to understand in membership sites, right? So we have a software and we know recurring value is just that, hey, our software says up all the time. Whenever you need to build stuff, you just go in and do that. Easy. I think that's a given. But here's a problem a lot of people face with membership sites. And, we have faced that in the past as well. I have built something with about 30 different videos, and I think it's a lot of videos. It won't take people, even it'll take them 3-4 months to go through. So why don't I price it in monthly and people can go it at their own pace? Now, there are two kinds of people involved who usually buy that kind of stuff. One is people who really want to go through stuff and they go through it very, very quickly because they're like, I got this and I want to get most value out of this. I'm just going to finish all the content in one go, and they do that. Overachievers, right? The second kind of people are people who just buy it because they want to feel good about buying something. So they buy it thinking, yeah, I'll go through it next month. But when they come to the end of the first month, they're like, you know what? I don't feel like doing it anymore. So I'll just cancel this and I'll just kill the subscription. So what Jenna is saying is that when it comes to a membership site, you can't just have a list of static videos and say, this is all you're getting for the next 12 months, but I'm still going to charge you every month as if I'm doing something for you every single month. Listen, my customers, I mean, some of you are my customers, and even your customers, when they see that nothing is changing month after month, they feel like, why should I pay month after month, right? So when it comes to building a recurring subscription, a recurring membership service, what you need to focus on is, other than the initial push that you're giving to people, the content, what else can you give to them month after month? Now, as I described yesterday, for someone who is running a membership about how to run Facebook ads change all the time. So their unique proposition is that every single month, every single week, in fact, I'm going to do a live video and show you what's new with Facebook ads, as well as what we did in the last week and what our results were like. And people love that kind of stuff. They love to look at someone else's business. What we have done in past is we have done group coaching sessions every single week. And that's easy in a sense, because all you're doing is you're contributing an hour of your week to doing a session, and you can keep getting new customers in, and all those customers continue to come to those sessions and interact with you. And the more they interact, the more they stick. You can also do checklists or say calculators that update all the time. So say if you are working in the real estate market, and if you're working with real estate agents and you've created something for them, what you can do is you can give them some sort of calculator and say, hey, based on all the tax changes or all the changes in the market, we're going to continue updating this calculator, and you will only have access to this if you continue to pay a certain price month after month. So the key point here, the key takeaway should be that simply creating a bunch of content and saying, this is it, now you have to pay me every month, is not enough. You have to add something more, and what you add is something that you can establish for yourself.
Oh, absolutely agree. It can be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Facebook Live is making so everyone, it used to be like, oh, I'm going to do a big webinar. Now you can do, like, the tech we're using now is incredibly much more simplistic. We've done it where it's just Facebook Live inside of the group, so we don't have to worry about the content getting out of the group. I mean, everyone can always steal your videos, but without context and worksheets and all of that, it's not the same. But then people have to be in the group. And if you have a members only group, then it works in that context. And like I said, there's so many times where we've seen the value of the group is in that recurring content, and not necessarily the content that you've spent hours creating and building inside of your membership site. See, Ralph Goodwin, FYI, Facebook says that being shared, it wouldn't be seen except for people that are members of Kyvio, since this is a closed group. Or members of my 1,000.
Yeah, well, then people can join and see this live. So, I'm here. I'll keep approving people as they keep coming in. But I do want to answer Alejandro's point. So Alejandro says, so basically you must continue studying your market and be a step ahead of your customers, creating new content and tools for them. It's like you're employed by them to keep them updated. Makes sense. Now, employed is a heavy term, right? I kind of don't want to use that, because employed sounds like you're back into 9 to 5 and you have to do something. But here's the thing. When you run a business, when you run a membership site, if you're making $2,000-$4,000 or more, you can easily outsource some of the activities to someone else. And the tool doesn't need to be revolutionary all the time. Even a simple change to help people keep up to date with the market is big enough that they feel that they have a reason to stay. Like Jenna said, even having a Facebook community where people are helping each other, or the value of content is really high, is enough for people to feel that they are in the right place and they can continue to pay month after month. And about employment as well, I think I posted that success story today. It was Darren Brown. It was there a few days ago. Andy Tor actually said that he replaced his job with a job-like income. Now, those two are very, very different things. I can tell you, for me, myself, I am what they would say unemployable, which means that I wouldn't ever want to work for someone. No one would ever hire me to work for them, because I just don't have that attitude anymore. I want to do things for myself. I want to create and grow assets. So what he said, what Andy said as well, was the same thing, is that initially when he had a job, he worked to build his membership site so he could hit the same level of income. And when he hit that, he knew that he had managed to create job-like income, and now he could quit his job and do things on his own terms. So yes, even though people are paying you month after month. Yes, you do have to deliver month after month, but that delivery doesn't always need to be new content. It could even be a Facebook group support. If it's a continued thing, you could offer them support if they get stuck. So it really depends on how you want to structure this. But I just want to round this up by saying that the more you can be in touch with people, the more they will continue to pay in a recurring membership scenario.
Absolutely. And there's lots of means to do that. It doesn't have to feel like you're employed. And like Stephen has learned, you can do that from everywhere. Like, I think one of the things that made us really excited was they upgraded the internet tower on our favorite cruise ship. Because we can live like kings for a week here and there, and I can still work, and we only need like an hour or two a day of internet, and the rest is fun time. Let's see, Giselle, did I say that right? Gazelle or Giselle? I created classes every month, which keeps students engaged. Otherwise, they'll get bored and leave. Why pay for nothing new? And the nice thing about that is once you already have members, it's really simple, in my opinion, to create new content, because you can ask them where they're stuck. You can ask them, what is it that you're needing right now? And you can just create. It doesn't have to be super complicated content creation. It could be a simple thing of, I could look at all of the questions we had yesterday, turn and make a video of each one of those questions, and have a massive amount of content to add to an existing program where you can raise the cost or add value to your existing clients.
Exactly. And even if you can help your clients, your customers, to overcome their initial roadblocks, fact of the matter is they will continue to have roadblocks in future. They will continue to need motivation. Let me give you an example that Jenna gave me earlier, a few days ago. Jenna said that a lot of people go to Tony Robbins' seminar. So they spend a few $1,000s, they go there, and Tony Robbins makes them jump around and they're excited and everything is good. But then, they feel good. They feel like they can conquer the world. And for a couple of days they do, and then the steam runs out. They have to go back in to rejuvenate with Tony Robbins, again, pay a few $1,000s and do the same thing over and over again. So people need constant motivation, and you just being there for them, or someone in your team just being there for them, giving them positive feedback, showing them what they're doing wrong, showing them what they're doing right, would already offer all that motivation that they would otherwise have to pay thousands of dollars for. So you can always use that angle, that positioning, to continue to offer more value to your customers and clients as well.
And it's one of those things too, you can have different. So one of the things I wanted to discuss was, kind of how you move somebody from that, let me introduce myself stage to adding continued value and working them up a pricing structure. Is there might be a section where all you're adding is value. And it's just in one piece. There's no continued value. There's no Facebook group. There's no Slack channel. Everyone answered it for me. Thank you. But it might just be an initial piece of content. And in the 30-day course, we looked at maybe it's just an initial piece of content that you offer for free. And then the next, logical question is, would you like some help with that? Would you like some motivation with like that? Because you cannot offer one-on-one value. There's only so far you can spread yourself out. You can charge additional for that. You can add some value that's really easy up front with a membership site for free or low cost, and then say, hey, if you'd like some consulting, or if you'd like to go through this and join our Facebook group, join this additional cost, upgrade your membership. Ryan Dice has done that. He's actually broken up every single one of his products, where he used to create big products, and then he had a membership, and then he had this membership, and then he had this membership, into just a few overall products. So he has a lab, as an example, a lab membership at $38. The information is in there, and you have a Facebook group to turn to. And while you'll have some basic customer support, that's kind of the extent of it. Now, don't get me wrong, having 12,000 marketers in one Facebook group is a lot of help, but they also have an HQ for more strategic, which is those bigger platforms of content and the swipe files and the extra education. And they have an elite group where you can literally fly out to Austin, I think now twice a month. You can get all of the key players. You can get Ryan and Marcus and on there, and they will actually specifically help you in that additional separate Facebook group. And even above that, they have a partner group that gets into their promotion that has even more access. And even further than that, they have a $25,000 to $30,000 a year mastermind where you get to not only get all them personally 4 times a year in, luxurious spots across the globe, but you also get to be in a room full of another 100 people who are all making $1 million plus a year. And that's invaluable, right? There's nothing that can replicate being around people who have already done it. So when you're thinking about the different levels of value, I understand that people get stretched thin. You can tier out how much access you give people by your pricing structures and be like, hey, this one's going to get basic support, but if you want like a one-on-one coaching call or to be able to get on my schedule at any time, here's this additional charge. And, here's this special package price, right? Everything in internet marketing, special pricing or special launch. Get in now and you can have that. So people can choose their own adventure, get what they need. And if you see them struggling along the way at that lower level, you can always upsell them later when you see them like, hey, if you do this, we can help you out here.
Absolutely. I like that positioning when you say adventure, because for a lot of people who get online and who want to do this, it is an adventure. Even for me, doing what I'm doing is an adventure. And I just want to kind of add, so I had someone hitting me up about 6 months ago when we released a course called 21-Day Recurring Machine. Basically, I was teaching people there how to build a recurring membership course within 21 days. And as you can imagine, I got a lot of pushback because people were like, oh, but Neil, I haven't sold recurring membership before. Or do you think it will work in my market? Do you think it will work with my customers? Because they're really price averse. So I had one idea for them, and I'm going to share the same with you. And it actually did help a lot of people overcome that hurdle. So here's what I said. I said, if you want to sell a course at a one-time fee, fine. If you want to structure your membership site, put in a lot of work, and sell it at a one-time fee, that's your prerogative. Do that. But do this for me. Tell people that you're going to charge, let's say, $97 for the first year or for the first 6 months. But after that, they still get to keep the course. But if they still need help from your support desk, you're just going to charge them a little $7, $9 fee every single month. And it's not a lot. It's not a lot at all. But if you can get 100 people to sign up in a month, 6 months later or a year later, you're suddenly getting $700, $900 a month for no work that you have to do. And because most of the support is usually outsourced if you are getting 100 customers. And I got to tell you this, that if you're struggling, if you're worried about taking big steps, you can always take these smaller steps. You can say, hey, we give you like all the content, everything that you need for, let's say, a one-time payment of $297. But then if you want to continue to get more after, it's going to be $17 a month. That's a relatively easy way to still make a lot of money up front and to still get people to jump over that hurdle that, hey, I don't want to pay this because it's monthly. And if they want to cancel, they cancel. They still keep what they originally paid for, but they just don't get any extra help from you from there on. So it's all about building up a user base of people that continues to pay you month after month.
No, exactly. And we have, let's see, a couple like questions or comments. Mitch said it's incredibly easy with Loom. I'm going to guess he meant Zoom to answer questions really quickly in a recording. And
it was actually Loom. So the use
it is Loom.
You can use for video recording. Yeah.
I am wrong. Loom and Zoom. It's because that Zoom logo we talked about down there. Yeah. And he said, also, that's what I've been doing recently. Read questions in groups and then answer with a quick video. The video becomes part of the membership training. You get to help your people. You build your content all at the same time. And I saw one of our coaches, Mike Archie, he almost completely built his membership site out under this idea. So he took training that he actually built internally to train his staff inside of his agency. It's not fabulous. It's not super long. It is unique. There's not a lot of that in the marketplace, and certainly not with the results he got, which was 532 new clients, ranging from $1,000 to $2,500 a month. But in addition to that, when he moved the people who bought this course at approximately $1,997 a piece, he moved them over into a Facebook group, and he would just say, I'm going to have a Q&A period. And so he took all the questions, and on one day each week, he said, I'm going to jump on Facebook Live. He got on Facebook Live, and he said, this is going to be really weird. I'm going to repeat your questions, And the Facebook Live videos are here, but I'm actually going to be staring here. So he had 2 videos actually set up. He had his phone going on Facebook Live so he could interactively answer fresh questions that were coming in addition to the questions that were pre-prepared. And then he had the actual camera, you know, the really nice one with the nice sound studio or sound bars or all that stuff that I let my video guy deal with. He had that going so he could look at the camera, repeat the question, answer the question, take a pause, and do the next one over and over again. But you can quickly hire that out to a video VA. They can chop it up, mesh it up, add graphics, and boom, you have content for under $100. And you didn't do anything but answer Face and Live Q&A.
Absolutely. And you can even extend that. So what Jenna just talked about is creating content for your community. And Dennis is asking, beyond the product, what else can you do in the first 6 months before the monthly kicks in? So here's what I would recommend you do in that case, Dennis. Follow the exact strategies that Jenna has talked about, answering the Q&A, say live on this kind of session, give it to a video editor and chop it up into different pieces. So let's say you're really productive and you answer 20 questions from people. What you can do is you can drip feed answers to these questions every 2 or 3 days inside your Facebook community, where you are giving a lot of value every time anyway. But instead of doing it over and over again, you can say, hey, I get this question asked all the time, so I recorded a video to tell you how to do this. Now, here's the fun part. Once you've done this once, you can repeat this again 4 months down the line. Because 4 months down the line, you're going to get a lot of new people coming in. Some old people would go out, and the old people that are still there, they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember you talking about this. This was really good. I like it. They're going to just leave a comment underneath that video because they remember it from last time. So you're not creating new content all the time, but if it is good content, you're simply repurposing it every 4 months or so. You're kind of putting it back in the group again, and people enjoy that kind of engagement. So that's what I would recommend, Dennis, for you to do if you don't want to increase your workload, if you don't want to continually create new stuff, but you still have done things before and you want to reuse it in future.
I feel like we jumped over to content. I do want to kind of, as a part of going back to focusing on how they're going to structure some stuff, let me screen share another worksheet. I only have one today, but it is a really, it's an important one to walk through. Let's see if I can increase it. I'm not quite positive which part you see, but it's a basic funnel or a sales, journey. We have a more complicated 8-step one that we create for our clients, but to get down to the bare basics, I kind of just wanted to show this one here. This right here is going to be the actual offer that you want to give someone, that you want to sell someone. And kind of going back to the dating analogy, a lot of guys always use like the girls proposing marriage. I'm a chick, I'm used to being in bars and guys being ridiculous. But if a guy is going to walk up to a girl in a bar and just immediately look at her and be like, hey, would you like to sleep with me? I can promise you the answer is A, no. And if you ask enough women, you might get thrown out of the bar. However, the typical scenario is simple. A guy goes into a bar, he asks, hey, can I buy you a drink? And you've bought 5 minutes of time at least with that girl in theory. And that's kind of going back up here to the lead magnet, offering something of value now. This can literally probably be set up in about an hour if you know what you're doing, maybe a little extra time if you don't need your membership site yet. If you have any kind of landing page software similar to that of Kyvio, there's templates in there. You don't need a logo. You don't need a bunch of fancy email automations. You just need a basic landing page that offers some kind of download, and that download could even be it doesn't even have to be a download. It can be just a YouTube video where you've answered a bunch of questions. You've answered the big thing that everybody wants. It's short, it's sweet, 5 minutes, doesn't have to be long. It just needs to be high impact, high value, both perceived and actual value. That is absolutely free. So we were talking about, like, if we kind of move somebody up, that video, you can simply ask, hey, I'm really glad you took the time to watch this video. And we're going to send you out, a replay link or an access link so you can access it at any time. In addition, with like a worksheet that we're putting together now, so you don't have to have anything put together ahead of time. And then be like, hey guys, I'd like to create some great content for you and send it out. what questions do you have around this topic? What can I answer for you? What are your burning questions? What are your mountains, your molehills? What are you stumbling on? They will tell you what to build in your website. You don't have to come up with this crazy stuff out of thin air. And then moving on, when you do get a little bit more complicated, lead magnets are typically offered on what would be, I would call, a landing page. And when they give you their information, you're trading an email for information. You hit a thank you page. In theory, once you build a system out, you're hitting an entry point offer. And those could be two different things that I've really seen with memberships. An entry point offer could be something like a $1 trial. You do want to, have some kind of exchange of money if possible, especially if you can get that entry point offer to start paying for your ads. But it can also be like, here's this baby training. And then your core offer could be the big training. There's lots of different ways to model the entry point offer. This is usually where I spend like at least an hour with a client just trying to formulate this section right here. But the core offer is never going to be up front. If there is an entry point offer that's part of the core offer, it can be access for 30 days, or, I think for our membership, we do $2 for 7 days. It can be a template pack, like, hey, get this one part of our core offer, our templates for $7, and then turn around and offer them the full enchilada. There's different ways to structure it, but if you can kind of look at this structure where we have some value for free, and then you're going to come over here and get a small amount of money that is what small means is ultimately decided on the cost of your final core offer, your main offer, and then especially for anybody who's offering affiliates or who is going to offer consulting, it could be additional help. You can offer those profit maximizers that are just going to add on top. Obviously, at each level, let's say you put 100 people in there, you offer it either on LinkedIn or Facebook, something small, initial outreach, an existing list if you have it. You get 100 people to get your lead magnet, 10% opt-in to the entry point. Hopefully you can get 50% of those to opt in, and then 2%. If you can hit 10%, that's awesome. But profit maximizers are going to be significantly less, because typically it's just an additional sell, it's an affiliate, or it's a massive offer that's a done for you system, or don't touch it, we'll build it for you. But the idea is that you kind of move them up, because driving the initial traffic to your lead magnet is going to be your most significant cost to building that revenue. Whereas adding multiple purchases at the same juncture and then coming back and offering them additional purchases, that doesn't cost you near as much. That's the cost of doing some minor Facebook retargeting, sending out some email blasts with, Kyvio includes emails right there inside of it. So these aspects are not expensive. This is. So you don't want to waste that awareness stage driving directly to your core offer and turning people away. I feel like that's a lot. Were there any questions about that?
Yeah, that's some solid content. So I want to make sure we go back and answer all the questions that are coming in about this, because it is something that can be a little bit heavy for someone watching it or listening to it for the first time. So we're just going to kind of take it slow for the next, say, couple of minutes or so. Make sure if there are any questions, we can answer that about structuring basically your kind of, let's say, ladder for something like this.
I think Martin Garcia was saying asking to download first and then a pop-up for the email is better as it is more friendly. So a two-step opt-in, I believe, is what you're suggesting. And that really comes down to your market. And that's something that needs to be tested individually. It's easy to say, oh, this is the better way to do it. But to be honest, it's all about testing and optimizing it. If somebody, we have one client that we send ad traffic to, and 90% of it is on a phone. And so that pop-up is terrible. There's just no pop-up that is super phone friendly. Whereas if we can just go ahead and put it on the page, it's really simple for the phone users. We've even tested it where changing the keyboard that pops up on the phone will improve and lift the amount of people that are converting to the next page by 10, 12, even 30% by making it easier. There's a specific, and this is out of my wheelhouse, this is my designer's thing, but making it the keyboard specific to email addresses. It provides like the @Yahoo, @Gmail, and all those automatically. So people have to type less.
And Dennis is asking, is it a structure for a sales funnel or a value ladder? Dennis, I'm gonna basically go against whatever I know. I know who talks about value ladder a lot, but I'm gonna go against what he says and tell you that they're basically the same thing. A sales funnel and a value ladder is the exact same thing. Just that when you think of a sales funnel, you just think, okay, what do I sell now? And what's the immediate upsell and what's the immediate upsell or downsell? That's what you think about a sales funnel. Whereas a value ladder is, let's say, something that can stretch out over time. So you think a value ladder is a $10 product, then 97, then 497, $1,000, 5,000, 25,000. Now, that to me is a funnel as well, just that it happens slowly, more organically. You're not pushing someone through it on the first date. You're not saying, hey, we just met, let's go out and let's go back to my place. That doesn't happen immediately. That, I would argue, is typically a value ladder. So again, using the relationship analogy again. So to me, a value ladder is just an extended sales funnel where you're spending a lot more time building, the know, like, and trust factor, so that when you do pitch that 5,000, 10,000, 25,000 offer, the person doesn't say, oh, wait, I haven't even bought like a $10 product from you. Why would I buy this? So same thing, just extended over a period of time.
Yeah, and everyone's going to call it something a little different because they want some kind of terminology that is uniquely theirs. So you'll see that with a lot of different people on the internet. They want a word that's so unique to them. When somebody hears it and they Google it, they're going to find that particular speaker or influencer. In the same way that I actually have ours that we use behind us, we call it a customer value journey. It can be a sales funnel. It could be, what are some of the other ones? I've heard so many different ones. The end thing is this: when you have some kind of process, whether you want to call it a sales process, a funnel, a value journey, whatever the other guy uses is, the idea is that you have some particular system that you can say, hey, I'm driving people here. This is working. This is working. People are not going to this next step. Because when you can tell exactly where your sales process is breaking down, you can replace it, fix it, add content, and do all sorts of different things. Specifically, the reason I really like the DM one, and this is where when they introduced the customer value journey canvas, specifically canvas, was really when I got excited about his content, because I've never liked funnels. I've never liked value ladders or any of this because they were linear. And the problem is humans are not linear. If you say, okay, here's the 7 steps and this is the exact way they need to go, but somebody on step 2 wants to jump to 7, and somebody on 7 wants a refund and wants to go back to 3, and somebody dropped off at 3 and just ghosted me, what do you do with those people? Whereas our customer value journey canvas, it starts to redirect people. So when we were saying, okay, one of our clients is stuck here, what do we need to do to fix it? Not just, oh, well, let's do some retargeting. No, what is going wrong? And start driving and making sure that our customers and our own members saw, hey, you're stuck right here. You got them all through the convert. You're not getting the excitement and you're not able to ascend them. Let's take them back to engage. Let's segment them out again. Let's go back and try a different avenue. And when you can create those different circles and you know which direction they are going, that's the one we prefer. It's to us, it's human, but at the end of the day, they're all the same. It's a documentable system so you can test, retest, and refine those conversion rates.
Exactly. As they say, a rose by any other name is still a rose. So it doesn't matter what you call it. And Jenna is perfectly on point here that when you are trying to build a relationship with a customer and eventually sell them something, if you think about it as a linear process, like, okay, I'm going to give you a score if you open my email, and I'm going to give you a score if you click on something, it kind of dehumanizes the entire idea of selling something. I mean, I know you can lead with numbers and you can say it's all about the numbers, and that's fine. But the higher up you go, the more you want it to be a human connection. People don't make $1 million deals because they saw an ad on Facebook and they clicked on it and they say, cool, I'm just going to put my credit card on this and pay $1 million. It takes a little bit more connection there. And that is a funnel, that is a value ladder, or whatever else you want to call it for that matter.
All right, so I just posted, I'm not sure where in the comments it will show up, but I did post the worksheet if guys want to print it. I believe I got it on the right one.
You did, and I'll make sure that afterward it's also included in the video. So if someone wanted to check it out later, they could.
There we go.
Cool. The other thing I want to add here, Jenna, about the offer. So I made a post about it on our blog actually some time ago, and I'm going to drop the link for everyone here, where I argued the point that a lot of people try and sell products. That does not work at all. What actually works is creating and making offers. So for me, a product and an offer are two very, very different things. When I think about a product, it's, let's say, a course that you've created, a membership site that you've created, and you're like, okay, I've done my work. This is it. I'm going to sell it. Now, here's the thing. People don't buy your product, and we'll talk about, this kind of positioning more later on in another session, but people don't buy your product because it has all the right features. They don't buy it for the features. Sure, if they're comparing, they might say this has more or better features than this other software, but their inner decision, their intrinsic motivation to buy something is based on the idea that it's going to help them with their why. That why could be making their life simpler so they can spend time with their family. The why could be they want to raise enough money so they can support their ailing mother, for example. Or their why could be they just want to make a change in the world and leave a better place for their kids. So whatever you're creating, it has to fulfill the why. Again, we keep going back to that. It has to fulfill the why for your audience, the why for your customers. And a product does not do that, an offer does. A product can be rejected quite easily. Hey, this doesn't fit me. But an offer typically has more things in it. It has better positioning. So an offer doesn't get rejected outright. Let me give you a more tangible example here. Say, yeah, okay, this is good. So my first 1,000, right? We started this entire movement with the idea that we want to help people create and sell courses, get to their first $1,000 with their membership site. Now, that is an offer because you can look at it subjectively in many different ways. You'll always come back to the same conclusion that it's going to help you build and grow your membership sites, research, build, and grow your membership site. So this positioning is so big that will always bring you back to this. But if I said that, hey, I'm going to do 5-day live training series where I'm going to teach you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you will only get in if you want to learn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You won't get in because you want to build a membership site. You won't get in because you have bigger dreams, bigger goals. You will only get in because, yep, I want to learn 10 things and Neil's teaching 5 of those. I'm going to go check it out. And a lot of people might not, maybe if you just saw the landing page and said, okay, I'm going to jump for these 5 things and that's it, you will leave after that because we're done. Those 5 sessions are done. But if you really believe in it, if you really believe in the message that we're sharing, then you're going to stick around. You're going to continue to take action. You're going to continue to come back to us and say, I'm stuck, I need help with this, and we'll help you. So the idea of creating an offer instead of a product is that offer has a broader appeal. It has a much bigger emotional appeal than just the product, which is feature laden that you've created. That's my take anyway, Jen. I'm not sure what you think about that.
No, that's interesting. I've never heard like the difference between a product or an offer. To be honest, I've never called a membership a product in anything less than like a business, in the boardroom type thing where we're discussing, hey, what are our products? As a membership, kind of going back to what, Ryan said that, kind of, I don't want to say ingenious, and I don't know if he came up with it on his own, but community is the new brand. It really comes down to your tribe. When you can build that set niche and you can work with them and you can, make kind of a promise to them and help them achieve their goals and start tying that community in. So we've seen like in Facebook groups, when we're running Facebook groups for different clients, is it's really easy to move people in. It's really easy to produce content. We can produce daily content, getting the community and the tribe to start integrating and producing their own content, to get them asking questions. That's always what the most difficult aspect is. When you can build that or similar, it doesn't have to be a Facebook group. It can be live. It can be on Slack. It can be on whatever channels. Somebody mentioned, I don't know if it was Giselle or somebody mentioned yesterday in the comments, they had another kind of platform they use. But when you can create that actual tribe where other people are following each other's stories, Other people are like, hey, I'm just starting out. I can't figure out this thing that you're talking about. Like, how do you set up this technology? And another member chimes in and be like, oh yeah, man, I was there like 2 weeks ago. This one sucks. I bought this one. Shipping was terrible. And we ended up going to the store and buying this one. And your members start providing that same feedback. You're helping them. And it's kind of like that Starbucks methodology of, give and take. Like you buy one Starbucks for someone and that person buys one for someone. It's the same thing. If you can create a community that starts helping people through, whether it's a product or an offer, I kind of agree where it stops being a product at a certain point where you're trying to help people achieve a certain particular success point. But creating that community and tribe is always going to be critical. And when you can do that, you can pretty much sell anything. When I see people, Ryan made an offer for DM Elite. He was taking all of his other different, his machine, his perpetual traffic, whatever, all these different aspects, putting them all in one elite group and him going to add all these additional trainings in Austin. Somebody ran up literally with the paid slip in their hand before he was done making the offer. And the offer wasn't that long. It was like 5 minutes, maybe on stage. And as soon as he came off stage, there was like a line behind him. You're like, what is going on? Once you create that tribe, they'll follow you anywhere. There will be a core group, a cult almost, that just, okay, Ryan said I need to buy it. I guess I need to buy it.
Yep, that's quite right as well. And Dennis brings up a very important question. He says, how do you keep or make a promise where the thing you're teaching is based on your story? Maybe your results are not typical. So yes, FTC agreements and whatnot. Yes, I'll say this, Dennis, first of all, we have done over $1 million so far in the last 5 years with membership sites, mostly one time. As I said, now we're doing more and more recurring. Now, when I got you into this group, I never promised you're going to do $1 million. I never even promised you that you are going to do $1,000 in recurring subscriptions. What I did promise you was that I was going to give you all the training that I think you need, all the tools that I think you need to create your membership site, which could get you to your $1,000, just like it did for me and a lot of other students. So it all comes down to positioning it in the right way, because you don't have control over anyone's actions. Like, you really don't. I mean, that's something parents usually teach us, that you can only control your own actions. You can't control someone else's. So it's up to you to do the best you can. If someone fails to apply what you teach, it is not your problem. If someone fails to get the results they achieve because maybe luck was not on their side that day, or maybe they missed a crucial step, that is not your problem. Your problem is delivering the best content that you can, giving all the help you can to the best of your abilities. Now, I'm not saying if you're on a holiday, you got to stop your holiday and help a person who's struggling to put an image on their blog. That's not the idea. The idea is that you are available to the best of your abilities when you are needed. And that way you can fulfill your own promise, is that I'm going to do what I can to help you succeed. Does that answer your question, Dennis?
And I would just add, be honest. If you can be honest, like, hey, this, that was something Mike Archie did. He said, hey, look, over the course of 1 year, I signed up 532 new clients using this particular methodology, as well as this back-end operations structure. He actually broke it into 2 products. If you would like to learn how to do this particular methodology, step-by-step how we did it, take the same training I give my people, here it is. I mean, it doesn't, you can be, certainly put all the Federal Trade Commission, the rules in there. If you'll see Frank Kern, who in the beginning kind of all this, liked to push the limits as far as humanly possible, and then, reported and sold how he did it. And everyone's like, well, it didn't work for me. No, because things change. Inside of Google Ads alone, which is a place we have a lot of clients in Google Ad structures, they made like 258 changes last year to just their Google Ads platform. Some are big, some are little. That has nothing to do with Google search and SEO. That was merely just Google Ads. So if I teach somebody, hey, how, one of the things that we're moving a lot of our agency clients is, you buy our system or you get nothing. I'm not going to build little one-off choose your own adventures anymore, because I know what will double a business. In saying that, I know that Google ads and Facebook ads are going to work. If I turn around and I package up what I'm doing to double a business, let's say for specifically a law firm, because that was one of the presentations we're going to be doing soon, I can only say positively, this is what worked for that law firm. It worked in Arkansas. It worked in this city. It worked with Google ads during this stretch of time and Facebook ads during this stretch of time, using these particular tech platforms at this existing price. He already had an existing business. It's not from scratch. I think that's a big deal. It's not a 1-year attorney, it's a 16-year attorney. So just be very clear on all the different parameters of why something might have worked for you, and let your members know that.
Exactly. And remember, your story will inspire people. Now, I do want to move on to the next section because I do have another webinar to do later, but also there's a lot of things that I want to discuss for this section. This is particularly exciting, and it's the one that bugs a lot of people. So let me ask you this question. If I ask you, are you happy with the pricing for your membership site right now? Or are you clear on how you should price your next membership site? What would your answer be? Say, Neil, I'm clear, or Neil, I'm not clear. Tell me which one it is. It is a rhetorical question, of course, because I'm going to answer that with a cool little tool that you can use to price your own membership site that you're building out next time. So I'm going to go wait for the answers. And yes.
I'm kind of wondering, what is everyone selling? If they have an existing product, what are they selling it for right now?
Okay, so John says clear. Saul says no. Giselle says I'm not clear. Haven't got a clue, says Darren, which is okay, Darren. Mitch says always struggling with pricing. I'm not clear, says Tina. And Stanley says nil. Not clear, says Heather. And let's see what people say about what it is they're actually selling. So a study group will tell me the best price they will pay, otherwise clear. Okay. By the way, if you are, it reminds me of Henry Ford. So Henry Ford said that if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. And if you kind of just leave it for people to tell you that, okay, this is how much I would pay, that will give you a benchmark, but by no means should you restrict yourself to that, because people will always lowball you. People will never be honest with you about how much they will pay if the pain is deep enough. So the selling process is also about focusing on that pain and telling people, okay, I can help you because this is a problem that you're facing right now. So let me see, we still have responses coming in. I intend on running a $17 per month subscription. Let's see.
I'm glad you knew what that was. I saw PM. I was like, private message.
Yeah. So the membership, $17 a month. I'm attracting the wrong people, retired and disabled women who are on a fixed income. Yesterday's session identified my problem. That's good, Giselle. Jeff says business networking membership, $9.97 a month. No members yet. I sell 2-hour workshops for $197 regularly. And John says $1 7-day trial and then $47 a month for niche membership site. And a lot of responses coming in still, but a lot of people are not clear. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to simplify that process for you. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do to come up with a pricing that will work for your customers, and it will also work for you. So I'm going to share my screen and I'll walk you through this little cool calculator that we made. And once that's done, I'll come back to answering all the questions about it as well. And I'll drop a link for you in chat. Or I think, Jenna, if you could, just because I don't have Facebook open on this computer, that would be great. But no rush. No
Let
rush.
me see if I can go over here and pull that up.
Sure. But just that, don't jump over to that page just yet, because I want to make sure that you understand how to use it before you start using it. Otherwise, you'll make mistakes and you might not utilize it the way it should be utilized. So this is a free calculator. I am going to hide this behind an opt-in page later on, just so you know. But for now, it is free because I want you to use it. I'm never going to charge for something like this because I think it's the least help that I can give to you to basically move a step further towards building your membership sites and pricing it the right way. Now, the numbers that you're going to see at the end of it is something that I've experimented with a lot, and I've looked at a lot of different courses out there, and I looked at their relative pricing, and I've kind of reverse engineered a formula. Of course, you can't have the formula, but I have reverse engineered and engineered it to get an almost good enough number to help you price your next membership site. Also remember, the number that you get is by default annual or yearly number, right? So if the number is too small already, try and add more value. If the number is too big and you think that, okay, if you have to charge $5,000 from someone every year and you feel uncomfortable about that, try and reducing some value so that you're not burdened by it. Now, as a use case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that this 5-day live training series that we were giving you with some worksheets, some checklists, Q&A and all that, that was a course, right? So just have a frame of reference because everyone here knows this. Assume for a second that this My First 1000 5-day live training series was a course. How much would you have to pay to get access to this, say, at a one-time fee? Because we're doing all this in one go. So if you were to pay, how much would you have to pay to access this at a one-time fee? Now, let me answer each of these questions one by one, and I'll explain you my thought process, and hopefully you can apply this in your business as well. So let's see, how big is this course? When we talk about building a membership site, honestly, what I'm covering is something that I don't think is super comprehensive. I don't think this is everything you need to know about building and growing and scaling a membership site, because honestly, we couldn't possibly do that in 5 sessions, which let's say last about altogether 7.5 to 8 hours, right? So I think this is kind of average. So if you were to listen to everything again, if you were to apply everything, take notes, it'll take you a week to go through everything, at least, maybe a little bit longer, but if you really dedicated yourself to it, it'll take you a week. So I would say that the length of this course is average. The next question is, what type of content will you provide? Within My First Thousands, we are mostly giving you videos along with some checklists, right? But it is mostly videos. There's no written content. There are some links that you can read, but really at the end of the day, we're not doing a hybrid content which includes videos and audios and text. If I was over delivering and saying, hey, I'm also going to give you audio recordings, I'm going to get it transcribed and get you, big PDFs that you can read, that's going to cost me a lot. And in that case, of course, I need to charge you more. But this is only videos. Then, as we say, hey, perception is everything. Let's talk about how your course will be perceived by people. So, does your competitor have a similar course? Honestly, I've only seen one person out there offering something which is similar. I mean, they do it, they open it up like twice a year, and that costs about $997 every time they open it up. So yes, our competitors do have a similar course, and how much would a similar course from your competitor cost? And really, they go through the same things. Maybe they add a few more things to it, but if they were covering everything that I'm talking about here, as I said, the price is approximately $997, so I'll leave it at about, say, $998 there, right? That just gives me a frame of reference. If you don't know that whether or not you have competitors, then you can just move on to next questions and you can answer those. The next question is, are you bigger or smaller than your competitors? Then again, if there is one. So I would say at the stage where we're at, we're smaller than them, right? They have a bigger group. They've been doing it for the last 3 years. So we're definitely smaller than them. Second, is there real scarcity for people to join? There actually is. So as you know, I've said this over and over again, we're going to do this live. We're going to take over the trainings on Sunday. You can't have them forever unless you gave me your email address when you signed up, in which case I'll send you the registration link. So yes, there is absolutely real scarcity in this case. We're not going to keep this open forever. Next question. Are video transcripts and or subtitles available? They're not. Just because it's going to cost too much, and this is all being done in real time. The next question is, do you have actual testimonials? We do. So as you see inside the Facebook group, we've been releasing success stories every week, like twice a week. So far, I've interviewed a lot of people that have used similar concepts to what we are teaching, and they've been able to make the $1,000 and more. I mean, someone I spoke to has done over $500,000 with the same concepts that we are sharing with you now. So yes, we have testimonials going in. Can someone get results within the first 30 days of signing up? I absolutely think that you can. Like I said, if it will even take you a week to do this, if you just want to get it done, it might only take you, say, about another week or so to do the course, to do the sales pages, to position everything, another week to find people who'd be fit for this course. So yes, I do think you can do everything here within a month if you are really ambitious about it. Now, does the course come with an online community component? As you know, it does, because we are doing this inside a community. So I'm going to leave that as a yes as well. And as Jenna keeps saying, having a community adds a lot of value to what it is that you're doing and what it is that you're building. And then final questions about the course. What is the course production quality like? Is it the best? Like, do you hire out whole studios and record videos? As you can tell, yesterday, the video that I was doing crashed, right? My background isn't that awesome. Like, it's nice, but Jenna's got a much better background. So she's doing a better job here than I am, but still the course quality isn't as amazing as we would like it to be. If anything, I would say, because we're doing live videos, this is just stuff thrown together with, of course, the worksheets and checklists and whatnot. That's an extra thing. But really, in terms of the effort that we're putting in, we're just doing it live. So we're not re-recording things over and over again if something goes wrong. So are you holding a live event post-purchase? We are not in this case. You get 5 days of live coaching, and that's it. So no, we are not holding any live event after this is done. Do you include quizzes for testing and workbooks? We don't include quizzes, but we do include some workbooks here and there that are relevant to you. So I'm going to leave that as a yes, right? Then next question is, does it include additional Q&As? Absolutely does. But I'm going to leave it at monthly, because even though, we're in a group, you can always come back and ask questions. We're not doing a Q&A call every single time. So I'm going to, by default, leave it at monthly. Is there one-on-one consulting? No. So there's no one-on-one component to this course. And the final question is, what kind of money back guarantee are you including? Now, let me see if I can zoom in here. I'm just going to go there and try and zoom. Okay. Is there a money back guarantee in this case? Well, if I was charging you money, as always, I would say, yeah, if you don't like what we're sharing, if it's something you don't feel comfortable implementing, you can have your money back. So I'm just going to say it's an unconditional guarantee. If you don't get the kind of results that we want you to get, if you don't feel that you've got sufficient value, you can just get your money back. So all said and done, this is about 680 USD in pure value. So if I was pricing this, I would price it at about 680, probably lower, because I want to over deliver what I'm giving. So all said and done, I could easily take this training, take all the worksheets that Jenna's created, all the Q&As that we're doing, and easily go out and sell it at $497. Now, if I was somewhat desperate and if I wanted to just try out how people perceive it, I could open it up for the first 10, first 20 people at $197, $297, and still get a lot of money from that. And that's just a one-time fee. Like I said, because this is a one-time course, I'm not going to add more value after. So I'm happy selling this for $197, $297, even up to $497. If I was to start adding more value, I could definitely raise the price on this course and charge more if I was going to deliver more every single month. So I know I've been talking for a while. I'm going to stop the screen share for a second. Let me know if that makes sense. I'll give this back to Jenna to see what she thinks as well, because I know she's been using this calculator just to see how others should price their course as well.
I know I did. And we as we were making our own screen share for the 30-day course, I went through there, and at the end of the day, I would only say just sanity check yourself, right? It's almost like coming up with a suggested MSRP kind of price point. If every one of your competitors, like it mentioned on there, is selling a course for $997 and the calculator comes back and says, hey, you should sell it for $1,500, make sure you're sanity checking yourself and what people are willing to pay for. And on the other side, though, don't undervalue what you're creating. One of the, so we were talking to Mike Archie, and one of the programs that he went through was with Frank Cardone. Now I have some pros and cons to that particular person and how they price things and do things, but one of the courses he sold was $25,000. Mike Archie just bought it, but ultimately I happen to know that Mike wanted to just do a podcast interview with him. So he's more or less paying for the time to be able to sit down with Grant Cardone for the day. And one of the selling points, Mike was asking Grant, well, what am I going to get out of it? He's like, well, you should be able to double your money in theory and pay for it yourself. Well, that's not specific. Grant was like, well, you know what? You're also going to be in the room with people who can afford $25,000. Okay. Part of me is like, oh, I don't know about that kind of value. And the other side says, I've totally bought tickets just to be in the room with certain people. And I don't know if that's totally a Dallas thing to do. TNC is a great example of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, the content is beyond valuable. But one of the most valuable aspects of an event like that is the networking relationship. So don't undervalue because you don't think you have the value when you see that calculator, and then don't overvalue and price yourself out of the realistic market.
Exactly, and I will say again, if you come out with a price which is $1,500 and no one is in your market is charging that, and no one is going to pay that, maybe you're over delivering. Maybe it's okay to pull back a little bit, to say not do weekly live sessions, in that case only do monthly, to not do private Q&As or one-on-one calls. You can take those things out, and that way you're not over delivering. Like, one of the things that we would love to do at one point and sometime in the future is to do live events as well. Now, if I was to promise you like, hey, join the group and I'm going to do a live event, that's going to shoot the cost by a mile, because I have to pay a lot of money to arrange everything, to fly myself out wherever you are, and then deliver the 2 or 3 day session there with a lot of other speakers as well. So it really depends on what you're trying to do. Jenna's right, do a sanity check. If it turns out that the price that it's giving you is too high, think maybe the calculator is wrong, or you're just giving a little bit too much and you want to scale that back so you can still live your life and you can still make enough money from your customers.
Absolutely. And I would say, come back to your why. So that's always going to be a big one. If you're very content with how your life is right now, if everything in your life is wonderful, there's really no reason to go out and build all the membership site and do the entrepreneurial thing and take that headache on. If you just want to help 40 people, really deeply, build your membership around that concept. Make sure that you don't build anything without really thinking about what it is you actually want to accomplish. Do you like working with people really deeply? Do you just want to mass produce something? Of course, there's going to be, consequences, outcomes from any one of these decisions that should be thought out. One of the things Mike was teaching was, McDonald's makes significantly more than Bob's Chop House. So most of you won't know who Bob's Chop House is. I think they have 2 locations here in Dallas. They make what is arguably one of the best steaks in the United States. Great steak, but their yearly revenue is limited to 2 locations, where McDonald's is, a massive global enterprise with beachfront locations across the globe. So ask yourself, what do you want to be like? Do you want to be a solopreneur who's just working at his home? Do you want to be the girl with, a $20,000 foot office space where you have 21 employees? If you don't want 21 employees, you physically cannot handle 10,000 members. It's not going to happen. So if you're doing your pricing calculations and you kind of reverse engineer what you need, let's say one of our members, we're going to be working with her through the 30-day launch, is Rayanne, and she wants to create the income for herself to replace the savings that she's kind of run through, replace a husband's income. So we can work backwards and say, this is how much per person you need to generate your income if you charge this. But if she goes to a certain level, she's going to have a lot of people to take care of. And now that price point and how much revenue she's going to have to bring in is also going to go higher to support all of those people. So when you're pricing your course and deciding what you're going to do and what you're going to offer, keep in mind what it realistically takes to generate that content and manage that many members. If you cannot manage 1,000 members, 10,000 members, what is Tony Robbins, millions of people, then you need to consider your pricing options and kind of reverse engineer it to fit what it is you actually want.
That's right. So, this is one way to calculate price of your course. And I wanted to create this to make it easy for everyone to start from scratch and know a number. Whereas the other side might be, you might say, hey, I want to make $10,000 a month, and that's how I'm going to price my course. So I want to make $10,000 a month, and I'm comfortable working with, say, 100 people every month. So I'm going to price it at $100 per month for everyone. And as long as you can give enough value to justify that price point, perfect, you're doing a good job. But if you find that maybe $100 a month is too high, maybe you should do 50, then you have to decide, are you okay with 200 people? And now if you suddenly get 100 more, what extra activities do you have to do? Do you have to do more support? Do you have to do more follow-up? Do things change for you? I mean, I will say the good thing about running a membership site is most of the time, once you create the content, at least the core content, 80% of the work is done. 20% can be done as and when possible. So Jeff was asking, does Facebook group activity or webinar count as online seminar? I would say only you doing live videos or a webinar counts as an online seminar. We talked about Facebook group under the community aspect, which is already covered by the calculator in this case. So don't overcomplicate it. Just think about what you can offer, what you can't offer, and is that enough for your audience? Is that enough for you if they pay you X amount of money? And maybe there might be a price disconnect as well. Like I think Dennis mentioned, don't try and sell a $497 course to high school students. They're not going to be able to pay for it most of the time. So you want something that is more reasonable to them based on how much they can pay. If you are really creating something which is where you want to charge $497 from them, again, strip out some value because it's obviously too much to give to them, or over deliver, sell it at 97 and have a lot of happy customers. So it's up to you how you want to approach that. If you just want to impact millions of people, I would even say give it away for free, or as Jenna said earlier, charge a little bit just so you know that they're serious about taking action.
And we had a question. We had Danny Edwards. Everyone's time and attention span is short. Question: are 3-minute explainer videos for membership sites still sellable, or has crappy YouTube videos still the go-to since they're free? I guess my question there is, are you creating 3-minute explainer videos, or are you thinking about having to create one for your membership site?
Yeah,
I definitely think you don't need a 3-minute explainer video. In fact, the best ones I've seen, and the one we did for the 30-day launch for Kyvio, the one that we've done for our own business growth membership, and the one we'll do even for our agency memberships where we're moving products into a membership style course, is just us in front of a camera and possibly screen share to walk people through what's included. Now, of course, that's not going to be the advertising, but they're not needed. That's not something that I feel like should be a hiccup.
And Greg makes a very good point. Greg says the charge should be based on the problem you're solving. Consumer will pay a small amount for solving a small problem, or a big amount for solving something which is life and death. And of course, I agree on that. I can't argue. But again, this calculator is supposed to give you a point of reference from where you can start. I mean, if you are, solving cancer for someone, obviously charging them $520 annually is not the right amount. I mean, you can, again, especially in the US, you can get away with charging a lot of money for medical issues. So it really depends what it is you're selling, who is it you're selling to, and what it is you're comfortable charging as well. Because really, a lot of people have this mental barrier that they don't want to charge above this price point because they feel like, I don't know if I can, I don't know if I should. But try and put it out there, see how consumers react. If your value is clear enough. Now, this is where the sales page comes in as well. If you're trying to sell something for, let's say, $580 a year, but your sales page reads like a $17 product, you're not going to sell. So it is also about positioning the value the right way. So when people look at it, they know that because of everything they're getting, the value is worth much more than $580, but you're only charging $580 because you're a nice person, because you want to help them. Right? So this all ties back into how you position your offer as well. And again, if it's just a product, you can only sell one thing. But if it's an offer, you can approach it from multiple different angles, and you can say, hey, you already get this, but what if we amplify it with this? Or what if we automate with this? Or what if we scale it up with this? And that way, you can sell something from different positionings, and you can justify the price better as well.
All right, some of the other questions, Jeff was saying, are we talking about a one-time course or a monthly membership? It can be both. Inside the calculator is specifically talking about the value that's provided over the course of 1 year. Neil, you can correct me if I'm wrong there.
No, it is a year, but like I said, if you're doing a one-time course, assume the yearly value or one-time value to be the same.
We have high schools in Dallas where $497 would work. Kids with mom's credit card.
Expect some chargebacks in that case.
I know a woman charging $59 a week for her classes makes the pricing seem very cheap, but obviously weekly payments could be a pain. Weekly, I guess if she has a churn rate that's maybe higher, maybe people only want to do a month or something, possibly. I know we typically stay away from a week because we have fees associated with each individual payment. And I feel like most people are pretty confident with one month. I've actually never tested a week. That would be interesting. I think I would be really annoyed. I know my husband, if he sees multiple charges on Amazon, I have a problem. He's really annoyed, even if it's the recurring subscription items. Instead of bulking it into one purchase, they'll make individual purchases for all like 10 items we have delivered. And that gets really annoying on your credit card statement, as well as, you know, reminding them probably in not the most positive way of everything they're paying for.
I think I've seen weekly once before, and it was for the Forex market. So, you know, market where things change very quickly, market where someone might get in and then want to get out after a week because suddenly it's not working out for them. So it can be done. And I think 59 a week is probably better than charging 200 or 199 a month. Again, depends on what it is that you're delivering, depends on how you're delivering. Like in this case, I remember this person was doing a live video every day showing her process of, you know, how she calculates all the charts and figures and whatnot. So for that, $59 a week is good because you can, it's almost like entertainment. You jump on a live video like this one and you're watching someone play around with numbers and you're like, oh, cool, I learned something today. So yeah, depends. Yep. But just quickly to get some feedback here, I mean, this is a calculator I created after looking at different courses between $17 and $997. What do you think about it? Do you like it? Is it useful? Is it giving you somewhat realistic value? Is it missing something? Let me know. Because here's the thing, when I looked at all these courses, I realized that anything selling under 97 was just really hard to calculate a price for. Like anything under 97 was just heavily discounted because and I include myself in that case, because the vendors didn't feel that they could comfortably charge more, or they just didn't want to create more. They didn't want to offer more value. So in past, when I've sold something, a course for under 97, it's because I've recorded 1 or 2 hours of sessions and I give it to people and I say, that's all you're getting, nothing more. So obviously I'm not over delivering in that case. I'm giving the bare minimum that I can give to someone to get some results. But if I really wanted to charge $997, I would just put my heart and soul into it and create something that was just, you know, unique enough so that people would see value in it and would jump into that offer as well. So let me know what you think about the calculator. Feedback's always welcome. It's something I can go back and improve on if I realize that something's missing.
And one thing I would say just on pricing, and I'm going to share my screen real quick. This worksheet will probably not be available unless Neil begs, just because it's my baby. Here's the customer value journey worksheet and kind of a bigger representation. Like I said, I kind of gave you like the simple 4-step. We see 8 steps when we work with our clients directly, especially with memberships. And if you'll look down here, so kind of what we were talking about, that lead magnet, that's over here in subscribe, and offering the convert stage, that's going to be kind of your entry point offer. Here's the thing though, depending on what kind of service, what kind of membership you're offering, this could be a conversion in time, and everything's happening over in Ascend. But you'll see like there's all these other boxes. If you're providing something that is really expensive, you know, Neil's talking about courses at $997. I've bought courses for $1,997, $3,997. We've bought one for $5,000. Like we've bought much more expensive courses because of the value that we knew it would bring to our agency and our members. And that kind of comes right in here. What kind of engagement are you providing before they see a lead magnet or on the lead magnet page? What kind of engagement, if they do a Google search, are they going to find you on the internet? Are they going to find you on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all these different places providing intense value? And then up here, the excite phase, and this is what we find that almost every single one of the clients that comes to us initially is missing. Are you architecting the excitement for your, in this case, members? Is there something when they first get into that membership site that is like, wow? Is there a path that says, hey, look, I know it's day one and I know you may not know what's going on, but here's what I need you to do first. Here's what I need you to do second. And giving them some of those quick wins up front, that's going to help you keep your members longer. It's going to make your higher priced products seem really great. On the flip side, like Neil said, sometimes you don't want to sell it for a lot of money and you have to go back to your why. why are you creating a membership site? And for our members, it's about pulling resources for business owners all together in one space. And for our own, let's say, overall why, we see it as a cultivator of potential clients and of promoters. So I don't want to put a high barrier on there because I want to help the most people who may completely be priced out of our services. We just redid some of our services, and the one I pitched this morning was $3,000 a month. And that's kind of like an entry level point. Obviously, the moms that I want to help, the veterans I want to help, they cannot afford that. There's no freaking way. But I can do is turn a lot of my trainings for employees and our VAs into content. I can take my templates and offer them at a substantially lower price because I want the reach and I want to help people. And in that way, it's not all about the recurring revenue for me. It's about what I can get after they become members.
I like that worksheet. And Jenna, I'm not going to ask you, I'm not going to force you to get it because I think it is quite unique and it is yours. So by all means, that's fine. I do want to go to a few questions. So Alejandro said, say you present a course to a group of people and they don't purchase or convert, or rather a membership site to a group of people and they don't convert. How do you handle presenting a new offer to that group? Alejandro, do you mean, when you say new offer, do you mean the same thing again? Or do you mean something entirely different? Because if it's something different, that's easy, right? That's just you kind of saying, okay, you didn't want that, but what about this? What if you use this instead? And if you are talking now about, say, the same offer again, that's where, to me, the extra parts of your offer become really valuable. So say for my first 1,000, you know, it's a big course. It's like we're covering a lot of things over the 5 days. But if someone doesn't want to learn how to pick a niche, I can reposition that and say, hey, you know, I know you're probably not that interested in learning about niche picking because you already have your own. What if I tell you how to build a tribe instead for your own membership site? So that might get some people involved. If they reject that idea, I can go in with another angle. So it's all about like clever segmentation when you're doing email marketing and approaching people according to that. But that's just one way to do it. There are many different ways to do that as well. Second thing is from Jeff. Jeff says, currently, I have a 2-hour course, which is 5 pages. I don't quite understand how a 2-hour course could be 5 pages. I think it'd be a lot more. What I offer each page is a lesson generally. Jeff, again, I'm not sure about the question. Jenna, maybe, I think you know Jeff, so maybe you understand the question.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the question. Can you read it? Because I can't.
Sure.
Oh, wait, is it my current 2-hour course?
Yeah.
Is 5 pages. I think you're referencing, Jeff, like actual physical worksheets. Is that what you're talking about, pages? And because I happen to have an idea of what kind of pages you would be working through, it really comes down to where people struggle and how they might break it down. So because people can, when you structure, you know, you have your overall membership site, you have the individual product, and I'm kind of using words that are unique to Kyvio. And inside of that, you have modules and lessons. It really, some pages are tables to fill in. So, okay, tables, worksheets, something of that nature. It really depends. Does that particular page have so many elements that it needs to have its own separate module broken down into lessons? Or is it something that you can sell as a smaller, you know, product? Maybe it only has a couple modules and all 5 of those are separate lessons. It, to me, just really depends on how many videos, how much written content is it going to take for someone to look over that information and then select, you know, the download, the worksheet, the printable, and go through it. If they can go through all that information in, let's say, a 30-minute session on their own, you know, you have one video, you have a little piece of content, and you have a download or an Excel spreadsheet that they can click into, I would say that's enough for one lesson. I would not try to put all 5 in one lesson ever. Whether you break it down into different modules, that's a different conversation. It depends on how detailed you want to get into the breakdown. Some are fill in the blanks with explanations. So yeah, definitely at least one lesson per worksheet or template. And then I would just debate on how complicated it is, whether it deserves its own module. And then of course, we saw, I talked about one that was free yesterday where people are offering affiliates. They broke it down even further. So they were kind of saying like one product per section. So a client avatar is its own separate product training, and it's all sold as like a membership. Well, in this case, free. You sign up into a membership and it's all in there. It just depends. Got a thumbs up. That works. Saul mentioned giving value first. I can't speak for Neil and Steven, although I would like to say they're right along there. I'm a big fan of value first. Value, 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 because your competitors don't want to do it. And that's really sad, but you need to express how much value you can deliver. Give them some quick wins for free, give them some quick wins for lower amounts, and then, continue to give them value once that, you've signed the deal and they've given you money. Don't stop dating your wife just because she married you.
Well said, and it's good my wife isn't listening in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to answer one more question, then we're going to go ahead and pick today's winner for traffic and conversion ticket. And I will have to close this down after because, like I said, I got to rush into another call, and I want to make sure that there are any questions we can answer them later on. So one more question I think came from Saul. Saul said, Neil, should we sell trials? Should we try and do trials for these membership sites? Absolutely. Like, let's say you try it out at 27 a month, 47 a month, it doesn't work out. You can give people a trial as well afterward in your follow-up sequence. So you can say, hey, I know that you didn't buy, but maybe that's because you don't quite know how impactful the content is that's inside the membership, and maybe because you haven't been on one of our live sessions. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to get a $1 trial for the next 14 days. You can attend 2 live sessions with us. You can go through as much course as you want. And if you want to continue to get access to what we give you after that, it's just $47 a month, and you can try it out. That way, from people who didn't buy because of the price issue, or maybe they just wanted to try it out, you are going to get a lot of sales through that process as well, and you're going to add more people to your account from there as well. Okay, so having said that, let's run today's random picker so we can find who the winner is for this one. So as always, I've got all the emails here. There are like a ton of them already, but like I said, there's going to be one person who's on this session who's going to take away the ticket to Traffic and Conversion Summit. So as always, I'm going to pick a random item. I hope it's not the same as yesterday because I forgot to remove that email. If that happens, we'll just pick another one. So let's go ahead and pick someone who's coming to Traffic and Conversion Summit with me, and I'm tagging Stephen with me as well, and he'll be there. So I know Jenna's trying to help me out there. Jenna, I appreciate that. So let's go ahead. And today's winner is, I think, quite appropriate. Flyaway74 at yahoo.com. So if you want to fly away with me to Traffic and Conversion Summit, well, congratulations, because you did just win your free ticket to that event. Just get in touch with us and we'll make sure that you get your ticket as soon as possible.
I think Neil is working on his dad jokes before the baby comes.
Yes, I am. I'm working very hard on that. Good. So that's it from us this time. What we're going to do is we're going to reconvene tomorrow, and tomorrow we talk about my first, I think it was membership. So we talk about how to structure your membership sites for maximum impact and maximum consumption, because one of the problems that I found with people when they buy stuff is that they don't consume it. And that is actually your fault just as much as it is theirs. That's, if you buy something from me and if you don't consume it, it's my fault just as much as it is yours. So we'll talk about how to make sure that the content that you sell is something that people want to consume, how to gamify with not too many technical things, just simple things that will help you to get people to be more engaged in what it is that you're trying to deliver to them. So that happens again at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll put up a link again after this session's done. But I think that's it from my side. Jenna, anything you want to say before we close this out?
Nope. Just keep your questions coming. If you have questions you want to get us to answer tomorrow before we get started in the next subject matter, I would say just drop them in the Facebook group under this training here in the comment section. Now you can tell I haven't eaten. But other than that, bye guys, and I hope you have a great day.
Take care, everyone. Bye.